our industrious neighbor to the north. Renowned for its production of lumber, Mounties, and great cartoons. Every spring, the fertile Canadian soil gives forth a rich bounty of exotic native animation. Cartoon Network would like to say thanks, neighbor, with O Canada. 30 minutes of the Great White North's cleverest natural resource. Tune in to Cartoon Network tonight at 9:30. And you too will say, "Oh Canada, you make some mighty fine cartoons."
When you take a look at any recent Canadian cartoon, you'll see that the quality of the animation has been greatly neutered. A huge disgrace compared to what they've done many years back. I'm assuming your curiosity is piqued. You want to know how Canadian cartoons had degraded over the years. Astonishing that not enough people talk about Canadian cartoons. They play a huge role, especially in the 90s. But before we actually begin, I'm just hoping I didn't piss off any potential Canadians that are watching this. They'll probably tell me in the comment section below. Now, when you take a look at animation in the late 80s and 90s, we're seeing that animation was finally getting the respect that it deserves. Coming from the fact that back in the 80s, parents would accuse these studios for making glorified toy commercials as cartoons. With the success of The Simpsons and the new adventure of Mighty Mouse, this has caused huge, significant, and revolutionary changes. And also, of course, not only appealing to themselves, appealing to the common folk, you and I. That's where the viewership and money is at, and they most certainly make a fuck ton of that. What people don't seem to realize that Canada play a huge role. This includes the popularity of Canadian animation studios, including Nelvana Studios, Sinbar Studios, and Deke Entertainment. Yes, Deke Entertainment. This also includes the high demand of many talented Canadian animators. This includes Richard William and John Riscarusti, for example. Say what you want about John Kay being the despicable motherfucker to work with, but him and Ralph Busky were able to make career-driven cartoon a thing. Well, at least for Nelvana Studios, they've been facing some heavy financial turmoil in the mid-80s with the failure of Rock and Roll. The Care Bear movie is the main reason why Nelvana Studios is still around today. In fact, the success of the Care Bear movies and Bad for the Elephant had paved the way for a brighter future for the studios. So you really want to know who's responsible for the degradation in quality in Canadian cartoons? Well, you can blame that on the Canadian content, or I like to call it the Canadian Radio and Telecommunication Commission. The Canadian Radio and Telecommunication Commission was established in 1968 along with the Broadcasting Act of 1968 in Canada, making the Board of Broadcasting Governor their grandpa. What they do, they enforce the rules given by the Broadcasting Act of 1968 to ensure that all broadcasting companies must fulfill a quota of 60% that all content made from their broadcasting company is Canadian in origin, this including people. Although we saw some quality programming from this, it also caused a problem for foreigners to invest in these shows, since it will nullify its status as Canadian content. As time progresses on, many of these Canadian animation studio and broadcasting company realized that the content didn't have to be good, it just has to be there. With the introduction and popularity with these Flash animation software, which includes Dolby Flash and Boomtoon Harmony, or Boomtoon Studio, you want to call it like that. Seeing how effective these Flash animation software were able to keep the budget low, these studios switched to it exclusively, since the Canadian government paying them regardless of quality, and are able to sell their lower quality cartoons at syndication packages internationally to maximize their profit. It doesn't help that the Canadian government has socialized their art industry, meaning they have full financial control of it, just to fulfill their quota of Canadian content, otherwise they'll be fined. This is a crippling issue, since these studios and broadcasters chose quantity over quality. The viewers have to put up with this bullshit. You're probably asking me, why can't they just merchandise their product and or fix their quality control and have these studios and broadcasters experiment more? As for the merchandising part, they can, but it's literally impossible to do so. Unlike US Broadcasting Channel, This includes Disney, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network, for example. Once someone surrenders their intellectual property to those broadcasting companies, they own the right. Basically, they can do whatever they want with it, including especially merchandising. Meanwhile, in Canada, those broadcasting companies can't really own the right. It gets split out to a bunch of smaller studios in which they can't really capitalize on it. So they heavily rely on advertisers to get any extra money in. Plus, it doesn't help that these network executives, this includes Teletoon for example, that these executives have the same mindset that they had in the 90s, and also kissing advertisers in their asses. By the way, that also answers the pure lack of quality control. And as for why can't they just experiment more, it's Rockaroof's fault. That's why. The demise of Rockaroof's had scared many studios, realizing that Rockaroof's was too ambitious for their own good, so they basically play it safe. But you can't really blame Rockaroof's because it had limited advertisement and trolling production. And with Canada avoid taking risks, this problem isn't going away anytime soon. Plus, these artists and animators are frustrated on the restraint that Canada provides, so they move to Vancouver and or America where they actually show their talent, a vicious cycle nevertheless. At the end of the video, you're probably thinking, Canada fucking sucks. The moose thinks you're a bitch. You suffer from constant frostbite, and working in the TV industry in Canada is equivalent of being dead inside. Which is far from the truth. Canada is known for producing good shit, but the crippling issue that they have is holding them back. It's a slow burn, but there's hope for the future. Well, I'll be waiting for any Canadians wanting blood because I got either information inaccurate and wrong.